Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of The Call Light. My name is Carrie Kennepole, and on today's video, I'm going to talk about the 5 disadvantages of being a travel nurse. Let's get into it. There's a nationwide nursing shortage, and that's evidenced by all the articles and the headlines that you can see, such as this, and such as this. Now, despite there being a shortage, that has opened some doors and opportunities for nurses such as myself to enter into the travel industry space. Despite there being a tremendous amount of positives and advantages of being a travel nurse, there's definitely some cons. And the first con that I can think of myself is job insecurity. As a travel nurse, you don't have the safety and security and job stability as you do as a staff nurse. What happens if you can't find another contract? Will you be extended? Will you be able to find a decent paying job in the states that you have a license in? Travel nursing jobs are a dime a dozen. They're easy to come by. That shortage is more extreme in some states than it is in others. However, there's no guarantees that you're going to have a job from 1 month to the next. And what happens if they cancel your contract in the middle? Some people like the nomadic lifestyle of travel nursing and the ability to choose and be flexible and flowy and go, just kind of go with the flow, man. But there are other people who require structure in their lives and a structured job and a dependable paycheck that comes every 2 weeks, and you know exactly the dollar amount that it's going to be. And as a travel nurse, you're not only providing housing over your head at the location where your current assignment is, you're also having to pay for things back at home and expenses to maintain your permanent home. If you're getting to a key point in your life where you need stability and in your income and your paycheck, such as like you're getting ready to get married, or you're getting ready to raise a family or have kids, travel nursing may not be the best choice for you because you don't have job stability from 1 month to the next. I hate to break it to you, bub, but if there's a manager who just doesn't like your attitude and it doesn't like you, they can fire you for no reason. They can cancel you at any time. You're at the mercy of the hospital that you're contracted at. Despite there being a whole bunch of negatives and concerns with the job security, one advantage of travel nursing and the healthcare industry is that we're not as vulnerable to pandemic-related job loss, such as people who work in the fitness industry or who work in the concierge kind of industry, hotels, people who work at banks. When major illness, sickness, pandemics come and start wreaking havoc on our society and our communities, people start flocking to the healthcare industry for careers and jobs. The second thing that I'm going to talk about is always being the new guy. Travel nurse. How confident are you? How comfortable are you talking to new people and talking to new doctors that you've never met before? Those are important questions to ask yourself before you jump into travel nursing. Because as a travel nurse, you walk into a new contract and from day one, you're the new guy. You are constantly having to prove your teamwork ability, your work ethic, your knowledge. A lot of staff nurses won't rely on you, depend on you, trust you until you have proven them otherwise. I'd been a nurse for, almost 4 years before I started traveling. And I had a physician ask me when I was a brand new traveler, my very first week as a travel nurse, a physician asked me, "Are you sure you took a blood pressure right?" Also, think about what jobs and patient assignments people get that you don't necessarily like. Excuse my really bad pun here, but nurses who are the travelers, who are the newbies, they typically get the shitty assignments. A lot of these hospitals too that you go to, I hate to say it, but especially in the ICU, there are definitely like staff cliques and groups of people who work together all the time, and they're really tight knit. And that's great for them because that promotes teamwork, collaboration, continuity of care for patients. But as an outsider coming in, that can be really hard and really challenging when you already are feeling kind of lonely because you're not with your friends, not with your family, you're in an unfamiliar place, and now you're essentially being excluded by people that you're supposed to be working alongside. Even if you're confident, even if you know that you're a great nurse and you believe in all of your abilities, it can be really overwhelming and daunting to be considered the new guy. If there's a job that no one else wants to do, who's going to get it? You guessed it, you the traveler. The third thing, tax season. Tax season as a traveler? Yeah, that's a real Even if you're a nomadic extrovert and job security doesn't worry you too much, tax season's definitely going to cause a headache or two. The fact that you're moving around a whole bunch and you're working in multiple states means that you have to file a state tax return in each and every state that you have worked in for the past year. I'm going to let you in on a little secret though. There are some states here in the US that don't have a income tax. And if you're choosing to go traveling, I would highly encourage you to look into one of the states and get a license in one of those states where you don't have to pay essentially double tax. So if you're curious about what those states are, here's a list of all the states that don't have an income tax. The fourth disadvantage, licensing. Licensing. Oh my, for the love of Pete. Licensing can be such a struggle. You know, if you plan to live and work in all 50 states, hey, you know what? More power to you, but that is way too many things and way too many licensing requirements to keep up with. I have enough issues with the 5 licenses that I currently hold. Each and every state also has like an average for how long it takes to get licensed. The reason why licensing can be such a pain in the butt is that each and every state has their own board of nursing. You know, there are some states that are now compact license states. So you get a license in one state, which is your home state. They're part of the compact, so you get licensed here. Now you have privileges to all these other states to work in, which that can be really a great thing. It can provide a lot of options for you if you just want one license, and you know, it gives you access to a whole bunch of others. But if you want to keep up on those licenses, keep them up to date, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, it's going to require CEUs, it's going to require updated documentation, and it's also going to require you to pay fees. I know I just renewed my California license, and it was almost $300 to renew my license, and I honestly don't plan to work there at all this next year or two. I only kept my California license because it was a pain in the rear end to get in the first place. The fifth disadvantage, you might get homesick. Probably the most detrimental disadvantage, in my opinion, is that you're going to miss home. And, you know, you can choose a travel assignment that is relatively closer to home, but you're still going to be finding yourself in a position that pushes you to be away from your family and your loved ones. Luckily, the digital age has made it a lot easier to stay connected and in contact with your loved ones when you're gone. And you can hopefully maybe fly back, drive back on occasion to visit them and see them. Although spending long periods of time away from your loved ones can be really hard. When I first went to Kaiser Vacaville in California, I ended up being away from home for a total of 6 months, and because the pandemic was just kind of ramping up in the middle of my 6-month stay there, I didn't have the availability to fly back home, and I went 6 months without seeing my daughter, and that was probably like the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life. So if you get homesick very easily, or you are really dependent on your spouse or kids or things like that for your daily happiness, your daily wellness, things like that, maybe travel nursing might not be the right choice for you. But if you're interested in seeing about my very first travel assignment, which was in Vacaville, California, here's a link to that video. There are obviously a lot of pros and cons of becoming a travel nurse and working as a travel nurse, but the same could be said for a lot of positions. You know, there are clearly a lot of pros and cons of joining the travel nursing profession, but that could be said for a lot of things. You know, it's not just sitting down, writing a pros and cons list, weighing out all of your options. It's really thinking ahead, thinking about what you want. Do you want to stay bedside? Do you want to go into a management role? Do you want to buy a home in the future? Do you want to start a family? You kind of have to plot out your future plans in order to figure out if it's going to work for you. It's a great profession. It offers a wealth of advantages, but at the end of the day, it's just not for everyone. If you've liked what you saw today and would like to see more content about travel nursing, ICU nursing, and just some other, all around nursing topics, I would love for you to hit the like and subscribe button below. And this is the only time you're ever gonna hear it, but thanks for pushing the call bell.